By AT&T Uverse. High-speed internet. The Uverse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your local Kansas City Chevy dealers. Come visit for great prices on all new 2015 Chevy vehicles. And by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Beautiful day. Mount Rainier looks like you could just reach out and touch it. It's going to be hot in Seattle coming up. The Royals will be out of town by then. Perfect temperatures in the low 70s. And the Royals, with a 3.5 game lead over Minnesota, have a chance to get back to 14 games above 500 if they can win tonight with this batting order presented by State Farm. Lorenzo Cain is back in there after getting last night off 2 games ago. Mike Moustakas and Salvador Perez got days off. So everyone is rested. All set to face former Royals first-round pick Mike Montgomery, who's making his 5th major league start.
Yeah, and Lloyd McClendon, his manager, has been pleased with his 4 previous starts. He said that in one of those they didn't score him any runs, and that was his last outing. He went over 7 innings. He's a good lefty, 90 to 93 mile an hour with his fastball. He'll throw a few cutters, mainly curveball, changeup are his secondary pitches that he uses to get righties out. Defensively, the Mariners, minus 17 defensive run saves. That's not a good mark, and it'll have to improve if they want to continue to rise in the West.
And a strike to Alcides Escobar. Escobar had a 3-hit game last night. He drove in a run. He scored a run.
He'll sink his fastball. He's got a 4-seamer that he'll, a little late life, that he'll elevate. Try to get some swings on. That slider, he's going to use his changeup, especially when runners get in scoring position. He's going to work his curve and change in more.
Base hit left field.
Escobar continues to stay hot, getting on base. 15 for his last 33 now in his 9 games. Really raking. See how he waited for his pitch. That was nice.
Mike Moustakas just keeps on hitting. 2 more hits last night, including an RBI double against Felix Hernandez, where he missed a home run by about 2 feet. And that .328 average is 4th best in the American League. Another base hit. Escobar goes first to third. Moustakas takes a wide turn. He'll hold. And the Royals have runners at first and third with nobody out.
Get him early before he settles down. That's exactly what they want to do. Moose, he waited for his pitch, as did Escobar, and his was perfectly wrapped up. A wrapped cookie right down the middle. Chance for the Royals to get on the board early here. Nobody out. Mariners playing back. Double play depth.
And now Cain is hit by a pitch, and the Royals have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Some first inning problems for Montgomery. Good time to go to the mound, I think. Sanino's walking out there. I don't know what you're going to tell him. Haas has a great opportunity here with him loaded. First pitch to the guy. It's a breaking ball, so exactly trying to do that.
Well, this is the time to get him. This is rare for a young pitcher, and this is a small sample size. He's only made 4 starts, but he actually gets better, and a lot better, the deeper he pitches into a game. Usually with a young pitcher, they come out with their A game and the lineup kind of figures them out, and they kind of struggle as the game goes.
Royals don't have a slam this year. They're due. Haas just 0 for 2 with them loaded this year.
Eric Hosmer and Mike Montgomery were taken in the same draft. Hosmer was the Royals' first-round pick, 3rd overall selection, and then Montgomery was a compensatory pick, the 36th overall pick, and he just missed with that breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He's a tall guy. He can use that height for leverage. 6'4", 190.
Big out for Montgomery as he gets Hosmer with a slider down.
That's what he wants to do. You see with that angle, he's going to try to fool Haas, and he did. He kept it down.
You know, Robinson Cano is coming in. I noticed something, Hud. The last 2 pitches to Hosmer, Zunino wasn't going through a series of signs. He was just going sign by sign, and I bet Robinson Cano came in and reminded him there's a runner at second base.
It's possible. You know, Zunino, he's learning his way here in the big leagues. Guy didn't play that many minor league years, or he didn't get that many at bats.
Little ground ball. Can Morales beat Montgomery to the bag? No.
Wow. Royals couldn't come away with a run. Not good.
Facing the bases loaded and nobody out in the top of the first inning, but he gets out of it. And now McClendon is hoping that his offense will get going. Mariners have struggled most of the year offensively, and last night had just 2 hits against Joe Blanton, Kelvin Herrera, Wade Davis, and Greg Holland.
Yep, it's good pitching, that's for sure, but Mariners offense have struggled this year, and Guthrie's hoping to keep them down. He's got a high earned run average, opponent's average, and all that. Most of it's due to that one bad start, but Guthrie has the ability to rebound. Has a chance for back-to-back quality starts. It all depends on his stuff. Where's he locate? He'll go 90 to 94 with that fastball. 2 and 4 seamers, curves, and change. Several Mariners have faced Guthrie in the past.
One ball, 2 strikes on the Kansas City native Logan Morrison, who's not really a leadoff type of a guy, but Lloyd McClendon needs to get somebody on base, and Morrison's on base percentage is .320, which isn't great for a leadoff hitter, but this is a team that's really struggled getting on base. So sometimes you have to go the unconventional route.
Yeah, 6'2", 240-pound leadoff guy. That's unconventional. I couldn't think of any in the league that had that kind of weight.
Infante will have a long throw from shallow right field, but he gets Morrison one away. And a look at the Royals defensively, presented by Ford, with Lorenzo Cain back out in there in center field.
He'll cover every blade of grass out here at Safeco Field. All he got to do is hit it to it. He's got an extreme focus. Rusty Kuntz, great outfield instructor for the Royals, says he's the second best center fielder he's ever worked with.
I think I know who the first one might be. Did he play here in Seattle?
He played here in Seattle and won about 10 Gold Gloves.
Rusty Kuntz was Ken Griffey Jr.'s first major league outfield coach. Started in 1989. 0-2 on Austin Jackson. Salvador wanted to pitch high, not that high.
Guthrie always well prepared, mentally and physically. It all depends on location.
That was close, 2-2. Ran 2 on Austin Jackson. He had one of the 2 hits last night. Mariners got a home run in the first inning from Cano. They didn't get another hit until the 7th inning, as Joe Blanton retired 16 in a row. And Jackson is down on strikes with a fastball at 94.
Plenty of hair on that fastball. That away right there. You know, 90 to 94 miles an hour is plenty good velocity at this level to get the world's greatest out. Look at those 2 guys there. They're talking and learning by watching Guthrie. But Guthrie, he's got good 2-seam movement on his 2-seamer, and that 4-seamer upstairs, tough to hit.
Robinson Cano goes the other way. Alex. And that was kind of an emergency attempt at the end there when he realized he didn't have a play. And that's still a pretty good play there, Hud. When you get no man's land to still get his glove on it, keep it from rolling all the way to the wall.
Yeah, as an outfielder, you can tell when you get 3 steps before that ball whether you're going to have a chance to catch it or not, and you can adjust with your glove, and that's exactly what he did. He knew he wasn't going to catch it, so he pulls his glove and turns it up just to keep it from getting by him.
And now Nelson Cruz, who left last night's game with a tight hamstring, but right back in there tonight. 0 for 2 last night against Joe Blanton. And now no balls, 2 strikes.
6 for 24 in his career against Guthrie. Everybody got a little dirt in their eye after that one.
Nelson Cruz last year led the major leagues in home runs and looked like he was headed in that direction again this year. He had 18 home runs in his first 46 games, but now 1 in his last 23.
Keep him that way.
Down to Escobar. He'll go the short way, and that is a scoreless bottom of the first for Guthrie. Well, who would have thought the Royals at this point in the season would have 3 starters on the disabled list, and that Chris Young and Joe Blanton would have such big roles. Joe Blanton, our most trusted player, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda. And in 2 fill-in starts, he's 2-0 with a 1.64.
Yeah, last night, he got out of that first inning, but it was come to find out he was trying to get used to that mound. He said the mound, oh man.
Knuckle had all kinds of spin on it, and Morrison couldn't find it after getting a glove on it, and Alex is on with a leadoff single.
That's a knock.
Error 3. Wow.
Really? They dropped an E on him?
My gosh.
Yeah, man, they hit the ball hard. That's a tough call.
If you like to score the game while you're watching, I would advise you to write that down in pencil.
That's a backhander, and the ball had topspin on it, and it was a tough play. You can't assume a guy's got to make a play like that.
And that's super, super slow motion.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to write single in there.
I already did.
Because I think they're going to change that.
I'm not going to change my card. Couldn't score on Montgomery. They had him loaded up with nobody out. That's a tough break right away. You would think sometimes a pitcher can really gain some momentum after getting out of a jam like that. Let's see how Montgomery can do here.
Sal got the first hit against Felix Hernandez to get the Royals going in the second inning with a 1-out double. Rios drove him in. And there's a base hit into left field. Now the Royals had the bases loaded and nobody out against Montgomery in the first inning, and he got out of that with a strikeout and a double play. Now the Royals with back-to-back singles to begin the second. Or a single and an error for now.
For now, yeah, that's a good pitch. It's up, a good hitting pitch. Not a good pitch by Montgomery, but the Royals, they're letting him know right away that they're going to put that ball in play hard. Very respectable 273 average off of southpaws the Royals have with 15 homers. Rios, there's not a guy on this offensive team that's more due for a home run than Rios. Last home run he hit was the first game of the season. He is more than due.
One and one against Montgomery. So 5 of the 7 Royals have reached in the first 2 innings. But the Royals are still looking for their first run. Two balls, 1 strike. A little bit out in front, 2-2.
Yep. Like he was trying to pull him. Greg Gibson, 17 years behind the plate and on the field as an umpire. I like his calls, Rhino, because I can hear him from here. When it crosses the plate and it's off the plate, he'll say, ball outside. So he lets the hitter, the pitcher, catcher, everybody know what he sees.
That's Montgomery's second strikeout, 1 down in the second inning.
That's a nice little slow curve there.
Coming up at Kauffman Stadium on Saturday, July 11th, it's Faith and Family Day presented by Hobby Lobby. It's the Royals and the Blue Jays. And the event will feature a post-game concert by contemporary Christian music band New Song. The night will also feature a message from select Royals players and executives and testimony from Scott Dawson of Safe at Home. And your ticket to the game includes admission to the post-game program. That's Faith and Family Night, July 11th. Omar Infante was 1 for 4 with an RBI last night. Down in the count, 0-2.
So Montgomery pulled out a really nice breaking ball here on Rio. Slowed it down, put it in the lower part of the strike zone, got him to swing over the top of it. Runners in scoring position to right-handed batters, curves and changeups.
Two down.
So now that's what they're seeing. First time through the order, they had him in some trouble. They're already here in the second inning now at the top, ready to face him for the second time.
So you're seeing glimpses here of why the Royals were so excited when, first of all, they drafted Mike Montgomery and were excited about him as he was moving up through the farm system. Ball 1 to Escobar, and why the industry figured he'd be a top-notch pitcher. But what he's showing the Royals here is something he did not show them in the minor leagues. Situations like this would get out of hand. And when you hear about Mike Montgomery and the Royals organization, you hear a lot about needing to mature, needing to be able to slow the game down, needing to listen to coaching, be open to making some changes because some things weren't working, and he had a stubborn streak. But he's making pitches, and now 1-2 on Escobar.
If you're a Royals fan, this is the guy you want up there. Escobar, 5 out of his last 8 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And like I said, secondary pitches with runners in scoring position, a lot. Curveballs and changeups.
So bases loaded, nobody out in the first, no runs. 2 on, nobody out in the second, and no runs. University of Kansas Hospital injury report. And the Royals' upcoming opponents, the A's, beginning on Friday. Stephen Vogt, having an all-star season, had a cortisone shot in his left elbow. And Jose Altuve's had a hamstring problem, but he's in the lineup tonight after missing the previous 4. Kyle Seager, Seth Smith, Dustin Ackley, and Lloyd McClendon has loaded up his lineup tonight with lefties against Jeremy Guthrie. Seager with 11 home runs, 37 driven in, was 0 for 3 in game 1 last night, and 0 for his last 9. Good movement. Salvi going to try and come down and in with a breaking ball. 2-2. And there's a reason why the Mariners have loaded up their lineup with lefties. A big disparity, lefties versus righties against Guthrie. Home runs, batting average. It's toward the end of the bat and down. So not hit really hard, but in a good spot between Rios and Kane. And Seager is on with a leadoff single.
It's a good spot for Guthrie. He wants to pitch those lefties away, keep it away from him. That's off the end of the bat. Anything middle in and up, he's looking for trouble. 326 down the right field line. It's a launching pad here, especially for left-handers.
And now another left-hand batter in Seth Smith. He just missed a couple of home runs last night. He flied to the warning track in right field in the 2nd inning, and then lined out to deep left center field in the 8th. And Alex Gordon made a fine running play to get him. 2-0. Seth Smith is one of 6 left-hand batters that will face Guthrie tonight. Sal down to first. Had the right idea. The throw was not on line. But Seager is taking a very big secondary lead. And Hosmer and Salvador made eye contact and thought it'd be a good idea to throw down there.
Yep, he got the strike call. Salvi puts that ball on the second base side of first. He's got him. Seager, just 1 stolen base this year, has been caught 3 times. Not a real threat.
Foul tip.
Yeah, he'll take it. Guthrie has induced 4 ground ball double plays this year.
So here's a lefty that really hangs in well against lefties and doesn't do all that well against righties. Good hard breaking ball. Second strikeout for Guthrie, 1 down in the 2nd. Don't miss the 3rd T-shirt Tuesday on July 7th. When the Royals will take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The first 10,000 fans through the gates receive a shirt featuring the Royals' fierce bullpen trio of Herrera, Davis, and Holland, presented by Sonic. For tickets, go to Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or 1-800-6-ROYALS. And now Dustin Ackley with 1 on 1 out. Off to a 189 start. Among players with at least 150 plate appearances, that 189 is the 8th worst in the major leagues. (2-0). Ackley was the Mariners' first-round pick in 2009, and 2 years later, as a rookie, he was the Mariners' Player of the Year. But then 2 years after that, he was back in the minor leagues. We talked about this last night, Hud. When you look at the Mariners' record, and this was supposed to be a year that they're really going to take off, they're 6 games below 500, and when that happens, there are going to be some players that they were counting on getting more from.
Yep. In Ackley's case, trying to do too much. Here's a guy here, he's got power, but he's mainly a gap-to-gap doubles with occasional power. And sometimes when you go out and start hitting some homers, it messes you up. It takes you out of your game. And that's what's happened with Ackley. He's trying to find out who he really is. And for some guys, that can take 2-3 years, depending on the at-bats you get. How many reps? That's why I'm glad Escobar's not hitting any homers. Whenever Escobar hits homers, it messes him up for a week or two after that.
Seager runs. That ball's hit well to right center field. Rios won't get there, and it bounces over the wall for a double, and that's a break for the Royals. That would have scored a run. Seager would have scored easily, but because of the ground rule double, he has to stop at third base.
High fastball wasn't working. He was looking right there, top of the strike zone. Fortunate, like you said, bounced over.
And now Brad Miller, and he pops it up. Can Moustakas get there in time? He can. That ball was not hit very high. So we've seen Mike Montgomery get out of jams in the first 2 innings, and now Guthrie closer to getting out of second and third and 1 out as Moustakas takes care of the second out.
Guthrie wanted this one. He says, look, if Moose can't get there, I am. And he did a nice job of peeking to his right because he saw Moose coming. Didn't want a collision there. That's a big out. But Guthrie, he sprung off the mound quickly.
And now Mike Zunino. And if you thought Dustin Ackley was having a bad time, it's nothing compared to Zunino. He takes a strike over the outside, and another player that the Mariners have high hopes for. But off to a 155 start. He does have power. 22 home runs last year, 7 so far this year.
When you are a young player coming into the big leagues and you only played 96 minor league games, 364 at-bats, and they expect you to perform up here, that's not enough seasoning. These players are rushed to the big leagues now. Good spot. Some guys had to play a long time in the minor leagues just to get up here, and then when you got here, you had a little better idea. I mean, he's got power. There's no question about that. He's got the pure power. He's got 7 and 15 already, 15 RBIs this year. But he's not going to hit much for an average.
Zunino last night was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He has Seager at third and Ackley at second. And they struck him out again. So opportunities all over the place for the two teams, but they've combined to strand 7 in the first 2 innings. An old friend will be dropping by the booth when we come back. Raul Ibanez, who could run for mayor in Kansas City or Seattle. to the booth, Raul Ibanez, who got quite a treat today before the game. Go ahead and show the folks back home. You were one of the last to get it.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of I was waiting to talk to you, and Dayton Moore wanted to say something to you before you said goodbye, and it must have meant a lot what he said to you about what you meant to last year's team.
I mean, just being associated and affiliated and getting an opportunity to be around a man, a human being of Dayton Moore's character is just something that's, it makes you just a better person. He's just one of the best human beings I've ever been around, and for him to actually take time out of his busy schedule to present me with this tremendous gift, and he already presented me with the opportunity. It's just something I'll never forget. That means as much to me or more than the ring itself, and as much as this ring means.
You were with us at a time when there were a lot of good players, and yet the Royals just weren't winning. Just couldn't quite put all the pieces back together, and you were just kind of establishing yourself as a major league player. When you came back to Kansas City, did you, aside from the baseball goals, did you have any personal goals in mind? Did you think that was going to be the end of your career last year? And if so, what did you want to give to the Royals?
100%. I knew that it was the end of my career. I knew that the time was there. And at that point in my career, Ryan, I just wanted to be able to be a part of something that's so much greater than anything you could do or accomplish individually. It's 100% about the team. And it's 100% about giving something back to the city of Kansas City, that hadn't been done in 29 years. And we talked about that. And my wife and I, Terry, we discussed it before I signed with Kansas City. I said, could you imagine being a part of something that hasn't been done in 29 years? It's something historical. And to be a part of that is just such a huge blessing. And I'm honored and I'm humbled that the opportunity presented itself.
Raul, what's it like being out? You were in for a long time. What's the experience like for you?
Well, it's a tremendous experience, and I've been so fortunate, Rex, because I don't have the desire to actually play anymore. And I knew the time was there when I started, especially last year at the beginning of the year. I was getting more joy out of teaching somebody to do it than I was out of doing it myself. And that's when you know that when you get to a point that you haven't. That you've done everything in the game that you're going to do, and just being able to give back to those kids means more to you. Then I knew it was time to go.
Yeah, and for a sport like this, when they tell you when to go home, it's nice to be able to have played until you've had enough, and then you can say, I'm done. What's your future going to be like?
Right now I'm doing a little TV with Fox down in L.A., and I do that a little bit, and I spend a little time doing that. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I get around a great group of guys with Kevin Burkhardt down there, and I get to spend time doing that and being associated with the game, affiliated with the game. And I just spend a lot of time with my family. I coach my son's 13U team, and I have a lot of fun with those little fun knuckleheads, being around those guys. They're a blast to be around, so, they keep me young.
And you have 5 kids now.
I have 5
right?
kids,
so
yes.
They're keeping you busy.
They keep me very busy.
And as popular as you are in Kansas City, it's hard to fathom this for Royals fans, but you are way more popular here. You could live anywhere. You could live in Kansas City. You could live in Miami, where you grew up. You were popular in Philadelphia. They loved you in New York. And yet, at least for now, you selected the Pacific Northwest. Can't blame you for that, obviously.
Beautiful city. I mean, just a beautiful town. When the weather looks like this, which it doesn't always look like this, I promise, but when it does look like this, it's just a beautiful place to be.
Raul, you were a finalist for the Tampa Bay Rays managerial position. Had you accepted that job and they gave it to you, you would have seen your family. You would have been so busy and consumed with the responsibilities of a manager, tough job. You just weren't quite ready for that, were you?
No doubt, Hud. I mean, once it came down to that opportunity, and it was such a blessing to be and an honor to get into that situation. But once it really came down to it, and Terry said, hey, I can go and meet you later on in June. And I had just spent so many years away from my family on the road. It just wasn't the time at that specific time, at that particular time. It doesn't mean that the time won't be there, soon or sometime in the future. But for right now, it just wasn't the time, and I'm having the time of my life. Just getting an opportunity to be around my family and coach my kids and coach my daughter's basketball, which I'm not a good basketball coach at all, but I blow the whistle really loud, and that I'm good at that. So we have fun, and just being able to do that right now is just such a blessing. But I wouldn't rule that out in the future.
I apologize if the inning ends here because I want to get your perspective on this, and hopefully you can stick around. What are your thoughts on the fact that they interviewed you? I mean, the industry is really changing where they don't necessarily want a battle-tested former big league coach, minor league manager, that they would come and approach a guy like you.
Well, first and foremost, you're completely humbled and honored that they think that you can do that. I mean, it's like handing the keys of a really, really, really nice car to somebody who's never driven before.
Right.
So, to get that opportunity was extremely meaningful, and it's something that doesn't that I didn't take lightly. I really, I'm really thankful for that opportunity, and I'll always be thankful to the Tampa Bay Rays, first-class organization, for them thinking that highly of me. And you know what? In today's game, Ryan, it's something that is you have to be able to. It's a different game. The guys today, the kids today are different. The methods of the past are not the methods of today. You can't use the same terminology and the same methodology to deal with the players of today. You have to kind of understand them and know how to. You got to get the most out of what you have already. But whatever that person has right there, that's your responsibility. You have to get the most out of them.
Can you stick around?
Yeah, I can stick around.
Visiting with Raul Ibanez. No score to the bottom of the third. Against Sonny Gray and Raul Ibanez, and we looked it up. This was Raul's last major league home run, and it was a meaningful home run because that was the only run of the game. The Royals won 1-0. And Raul, what if I told you that from that point on the Royals went 74-48?
Well, all you have to do is hit one homer, Ryan, and you can make a team win 74 games.
That's why the Rays wanted you to be their manager.
Something like that, right? No, no. Yeah, I think that was the last homer, and he is not an easy draw for sure. So, I was able to catch one, luckily, and we were able to win that game.
Who was your first?
Mike Oquist in 1997.
Wow.
Yeah, Mike Oquist.
Okay.
Logan Morrison, with half a bat, hits it out to Alex Rios for the first out. Your career is so interesting with the Royals playing the Mariners, because let's start with the Mariners beginning, going way back, if I recall, a 36th round pick as a catcher, right?
Yes, yep. I was an outfielder in college and in high school. And somebody decided that it was a good idea to put somebody that had never caught behind the plate because he hit left-handed. And it turned out it wasn't that great of an idea, but it was because I benefited greatly from it, because I learned how to work hard and I learned the game from behind the plate. You learn the game from behind the plate, so it helped me defensively. It helped me offensively. I realized that catchers had patterns, and you watch the catcher, he's running the game. So it really helped me a lot. But I blocked a lot of balls, and I chased a lot of balls to the backstop, knew everybody's name in the front row in many minor league ballparks.
And as it just turned out, too. I mean, you're being a little harsh, but the Mariners were loaded at that time with catchers, right? I mean, that's when people forget Jason Varitek came from the Mariners organization, right?
That's right. That's right. They had Dan Wilson, they had Chris Widger coming up, and they had Jason Varitek. And I think once Varitek got there, they moved me to the outfield. We had no left fielder, so at that point I could really hit, but I couldn't really catch. So they moved me to the outfield, and it was a good decision.
And then you came to Kansas City and had some great years for us. And yet I'd love to tell the story about, it was 2002 when you were designated for assignment 3 different times, weren't you?
Twice in a month.
Okay.
Yep.
Twice in a month. You could have become a free agent. You could have decided to move on to another organization. And yet you accepted those assignments back to AAA, and it was great for the Royals and it was great for you.
Yeah, it was definitely great. I mean, at that point, I knew that I had things that I had to work on. And when who you are in your mind and who you are in reality are really far apart, then you have work to do. So I was fortunate enough to spend time in Kansas City. I got sent out, designated for assignment, and I met the great Kevin Seitzer, and I spent 3 days with him, and he transformed my swing and my career in 3 days, and the rest is history.
Wow, and how much time had you had in the majors at that particular time?
I was about 3.5 years in.
Yeah, so you were just beginning. I was explaining to our audience about these young guys, Zunino and Miller, and some of these guys who are rushed up to the big leagues. It's hard. You had 3 years in, and you were struggling.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, 3 years in, and I had never achieved any degree of consistent success or playing time. So these guys come off of a college field where they are the phenoms, they're the stars, and you send them into the minor leagues where everybody's pretty good. And you don't learn to really struggle. And part of the learning experience in the minor leagues is learning how to fail and learning how to overcome it. And it's a very difficult place to learn how to fail and overcome failure at the major league level. It's not a developmental league. It just is not. You develop as you win, but it's a very difficult place to strictly and solely develop.
Robinson Cano grounds to Hosmer. He will take it himself. Man, I know you're here with your family, and you know how much we love you in Kansas City. Thanks for dropping by, and it's good to see you with your ring on. It's good to see you in this city wearing KC, and I hope you stay close to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you.
Raul Ibanez. Good seeing you, buddy.
Way to go, Raul. Way to go, buddy.
Royals baseball is brought to you by Panera Bread. Avoid the lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Chrysler. Come discover great deals during the Chrysler Drive and Discover event. Gorgeous night. The roof is open, and both Mike Montgomery and Jeremy Guthrie have been pitching around base runners all night. The two teams have combined to Two pitchers have combined to strand 7. Kendrys Morales takes a strike, and we welcome in Joel Goldberg.
Thanks, Ryan. Had a long talk with Mike Montgomery yesterday and came up with so many of these guys. And, it took him longer. And he said that, of course, at the time he wanted to be up. But he says, looking back on it now, he wasn't ready. He said, I wasn't ready, and that's what AAA is for. That's what the minor leagues are for. He said he worked on a lot of things. I asked him what. He said, he overcame injuries. He worked on different arm angles and changed the way he pitched and trying not to overpower guys, which we've heard so long from so many people. He said a lot of competition when he was with Tampa, knowing that guys like David Price were in the majors and guys like Archer and Colomé were down in the minors with him. That fueled him. But he said one of the biggest influences was his AAA pitching coach the last 2 years, Neil Allen, who is now the pitching coach for the Minnesota Twins. He really credits Neil for a lot of his success at this point.
And his pitching coach at Omaha for a couple of years was Doug Henry, who's now the Royals bullpen coach. Had a chance to talk to Doug about Mike Montgomery before tonight's game, and there he is with his arms folded. And Doug said, man, it was there. The stuff was there. And that Mike Montgomery at times was hard-headed, which is good. Ned Yost has said that good players can be stubborn. They're hard-headed. That's what makes them good. But then there comes a point where if it's not working, you got to move on. You got to try something new. And maybe Mike Montgomery was more open to that with the Rays and the Mariners than he was in the Royals organization. Logan Morrison, tough play, and runs it down on the warning track. And Morales is 0 for 2. Don't forget, parents, you can help your child win the opportunity of a lifetime by entering them into our Kids Run the Show contest presented by Skippy for the game on Sunday, July 26th against the Astros. Your child could spend the afternoon assisting with select game day positions. How about your child being the team photographer, a K-Crew member, a television broadcaster, in-stadium host, and many more. The deadline to apply is coming up next Wednesday on July 1st. So fill out that application at Royals.com/Kids Run the Show.
Looking forward to him running it. We've seen it a lot in this game, Brian. We continue to see it. You get a guy in trouble, load him up, first inning, he's having a hard time finding himself, and he shuts down the opponents and they don't score a run on him. Lots of times pitchers like that settle in and they find themselves. There's a boost of confidence. Now all of his strikeouts he's gotten are on those secondary pitches that are not hittable. Those are pitches that are down and out of the strike zone. So in order to beat Montgomery and to get that big hit they need when those guys are on, they're going to have to discipline themselves to stay off of those pitches. That's all the strikeouts have been on balls like that. 6 punch-outs already to a Royals team that doesn't strike out a lot, but they're striking themselves out. Salvi has the most home runs against lefties this year. He's got 4. 4 out of his 11.
The Royals have had a tough time this year against lefties. They are 10-12 against left-hand starters, which includes 0 for their last 6. And Montgomery's doing a good job of getting the Royals to pull everything. Sal grounds to short, and Montgomery has retired the last 9.
game break takes us to Fenway Park. And the Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Former Royal David Lowe getting the job done against Joe Kelly. Big hit for him as it is all Baltimore in this one. Joe Kelly only goes 3 2/3 innings, giving up 5 runs. You see the American League East standings. It's been a division that no one really has stood out, but the Orioles playing some very good baseball right now. Ryan?
All right, Joel, thank you. Nelson Cruz will lead off the bottom of the 4th inning. And it is just final in Minneapolis. The White Sox beat the Twins 6-2. So a win, and the Royals could be 4.5 games up in the Central.
They're going to have to make some adjustments at the plate to score for Jeremy Guthrie if they're going to win tonight. So far, they haven't been made 2 times through the order. They're almost through the 2nd time.
Got it in on Nelson Cruz, who's 0 for 1 tonight. Guthrie normally a quick worker. And that is chopped foul. He was a strike machine, Guthrie was, in his last start. That was a game we did not broadcast. It was on Fox Sports 1. The Royals ended up beating the Brewers 3-2. Jeremy Guthrie, in his 6 innings, he threw 67 pitches.
He was on his game.
Talked about being very aggressive after that game to get ahead of the hitters. Left center field. Ball does not carry to this part of the ballpark. And Lorenzo Cain makes the play.
And it didn't really sound like he squared it up, did it?
No.
Sounded like it might have got off the end of the bat a little. Because look, 376, that's where it is in left center field gap. Can't hold this guy, but it was down enough to where he hit it off the end of the bat. If that ball's elevated, he's going to hit that out of the park.
That ball's out of his home park last year.
It was.
That ball's out of Camden Yards. During the cooler months, April, May, and September, the ball doesn't carry anywhere here. But in the summer months, when it begins to warm up and the climate is more arid than it is humid, the ball will carry to right field and right center, but it never really carries to left center field. And we talked about it last night. The Mariners a couple of off seasons ago brought those fences in about 17 feet because that was just a graveyard for fly balls right in front of the Mariners bullpen in left center. That whole side of the field, left field to left center, they brought in the fences, but the farthest in left center field. Three and one on Seager. 331 down the line, but in the colder, damper months, it's just as soon be 431 down the line. 3-2.
Guthrie and Salvia are working well. Guthrie's mixing up his pitches. Not letting him sit on anything that's a straight changeup that was elevated, and Seager missed that one. That was a good hidden pitch there. It was elevated, right belt high.
Down and away. It's up and away. And that's Guthrie's first walk. Guthrie did not have a single walk in his last start over 6 innings. Don't forget, Royals fans, you have an exclusive opportunity to purchase an autographed copy of Dayton Moore's new book, More Than a Season, for just $25. And the proceeds support Dayton's charity, See You in the Major Leagues. $25, an autographed copy of More Than a Season. Behind the scenes of what led to that exciting 2014 postseason. Get your copy today at Royals.com/More Than a Season.
You'll enjoy it. You'll learn a lot too.
Two 2-0 on Seth Smith. Guthrie struck him out with a curveball in the second inning.
Seth has grounded into 5 double plays this year.
Two and one.
It's a good fastball up and away out of the zone. He was looking there, but can't pull that one.
That'll be backing out of play.
Double play situation, you see Escobar, okay? He's going to be the double play guy. Whether the ball comes from this direction or this one, there's your pivot man, Escobar. When they play that shift, you got to always be in communication. They got to talk to one another, look at each other, eye contact, know the pitch or two before what you're going to do with that ball.
Got on top of a high pitch. They'll send Seager first to third and put runners at the corners with one out.
Yeah, this pitch is Tommy-hawked. Hey, you got to get on top of it. See how he's able to get that top hand on it so you can level off that bat and get the top half of the baseball. He just missed it. If he gets the middle underside, that ball could have went out of the ballpark. But for Guthrie's sake, it stayed in. Still double play situation in order.
Justin Ackley was hitting 189 when he doubled in the second inning, which ended up being a break because it was a ground rule double. Had it stayed in the ballpark, Seager would have scored. And Seattle would have the lead. So he'll put runners at second and third with one out, and Guthrie got out of it with a foul out and a strikeout. And now Seager's at third, and Smith is at first. See if Guthrie can get a ground ball. He does foul into the Royals dugout. Seven hits and 11 at bats for Ackley against Guthrie, and 6 of the 7 are extra base hits. Well, this is the department that has hurt the Mariners perhaps more than any other. With runners in scoring position, they are hitting .210, which is the worst in the American League. Alex charging in. Seager will not tag, and Alex didn't catch it, but Seager has to go back to third.
Alex misread it on contact. Thought it might have been hit a little bit harder, so he hesitated before he came in, and then once he realized it, he really got on his horse. And when he slides like this, he normally comes up with a catch. And I think he was thinking about getting to his feet and throwing out Seager, who was going to be tagging. So this is a rare miss. It was in his glove and then fell out. Then again, another break, especially if Guthrie can roll up a deuce right here.
Fastball strike to Miller. It's a base hit for Ackley. Miller fouled out to Moustakas for a huge out in the second inning. I think everybody's all right. That was about as late as you can swing and make contact. I think that, yeah, that hit that padded railing. Otherwise,
and that guy in the blue's got a glove on. Missed him. Coming right to him, he said. It's a replay guy.
One and two. Gave up on that too soon.
That would have been a beauty.
Oh. Three balls, two strikes.
Salvi did a very nice job of keeping that ball from going back to the backstop. That would have went underneath Gibson, the umpire's legs. Gave him a run. Comes a pitch right here, 3-2. There's one out, so the runners won't be going. And Guthrie wants to put him in the lane. Best possible scenario, or a pop-up. He'll take any kind of out if they can't score that runner.
Just got a piece of it. Boy, that was the right pitch. Had Miller out in front, almost got him to swing right over a slider.
Yeah, that's the one. He was setting fastball all the way. Got to be careful with the fastball here. You don't want to throw one pitch, give up 4 runs.
He will walk in a run. So with one out, Seager walked, and now he scores on the Miller walk. And Seattle leads 1-0. And now Mike Zunino, who has come to the plate 4 times in this series and has struck out all 4 times. High strike with a fastball. 22 home runs for Zunino last year. Was a Mariners record for a catcher. Now Salvador asks for time. He wants to go through the signs once again with Guthrie. Outside with a slider. Base hit left field. Smith scores. Ackley is held at third. And Zunino's first hit of the series is an RBI single.
Dave Eiling going to try to talk him into executing that location down. It's up, it's elevated, it's on the inner half, but it's going to be hit. Even though it was a jam shot, it still was elevated. No chance for a double play with that type of height on the pitch.
And now Logan Morrison. Hitless in the series, 0 for 5 with a walk, 0 for 2 tonight. On the ground to Escobar. Out at second base. No double play, and another run scores.
Hit it in just the perfect spot. Escobar was playing more up the middle than straight up, so he had to range to his right several steps just to get an out. Morrison runs too well.
First and third with 2 down, and now Jackson chops it out to Moustakas, and that's the inning. 2 walks, 1 with the bases loaded, and the Mariners have a 3-run 4th inning. Happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock Central Time on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. And in the National League, the only changes from last week, Giancarlo Stanton, as we would expect, is now a starter if the voting ended today. But comparatively speaking, with a very low vote total, not even 5 million votes, he's having a huge year. Bryce Harper leads the National League in voting. Salvador Perez leads the major leagues in voting. That's another nice play by Logan Morrison. That's the second time that he has gone out into foul territory in that spot. And Mike Montgomery, and the Royals had him on the ropes 3 batters into the game, has suddenly set down the last 10 Royals.
Just like we talked about, give him that break and he's going to deal. Now, I'm not surprised at all seeing Morrison with this play here. Morrison. At the K last year, he made a spectacular play. And that's he hit the ball to the Gold Glover there, a third baseman. Man. But Morrison, he's got good skills, nice hands.
Can play the infield and the outfield. So 11 straight knocked down by Mike Montgomery. The Royals had the bases loaded and nobody out in the first inning. Montgomery got a big strikeout against Hosmer and then got Morales to ground into a double play. And then in the second inning, the Royals had 2 on and nobody out. And Montgomery ended up striking out the side. And now he's just making it look easy.
Give him a 3-run lead. Now he's saying, okay, I got you right where I want you. Pound the strike zone. Make you hit on my terms. So Escobar steps out. Good. Make him regroup. Zunino gave him 2 or 3 breaking balls before that. He said, no, I'm staying with my heater. Fastballs.
Two and two. .63 pitches in 4 2/3 innings. On the ground to Miller. 3 up, 3 down in this inning. 12 up and 12 down going back to the second inning. The Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Forever Royal Fan Express, and fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to the K, and our next stop is Des Moines on July 4th. If that sounds good to you, go to Royals.com/Fan Express for more information. Robinson Cano is 1 for 2. Nelson Cruz on deck, and then Kyle Seager. That's hit well to right field. Rios picks it off. Cano heads for second, and he's in with a leadoff double. So he's 2 for 3.
Fastball up, inner half, right into his wheelhouse. Fortunate to keep it in the yard. Rios, nice job getting to it before it got to the wall, making it close at second base. You're not going to ask Nelson Cruz here with nobody out to get the runner over.
Oh for 2 so far tonight. Cage center to make the play.
Again, middle of the plate. That was a frozen rope. Guthrie, he doesn't get that ball down, he's going to be in some more trouble here.
Kyle Seager, with 1 out last inning, walked and scored the first of 3 runs. Seager, Smith, and Ackley coming home on RBIs from Miller, Zunino, and Morrison. Seager accomplished last year what Mike Moustakas has accomplished this year. He was the first lefty to really make a significant change with his approach to beat the shift. And he hits it up the middle, and Escobar makes a play. Kyle Seager in his first 3 years hit .223 when he put the ball in play to the left side. Last year he hit .297, so he was a year ahead of Mike Moustakas in that regard, kind of going back to the drawing board in the offseason and realizing that left side is wide open. I got to find a way to hit the ball hard over there, and he had a career year, which is what Mike Moustakas is doing.
It's all about adjustments. Got to figure out how they're trying to play and how they're trying to beat you. But using the whole field typically is the way to keep your average high.
Seth Smith singled and scored in the Mariners' 3-run 4th inning.
Moustakas would like to do what Seager did last year on the other side of the ball too.
And Fonte just quite didn't get it. And Cano will score. Some hard hit balls, and the Mariners' 5th inning, a double, 2 lineouts, and now a crack bat RBI single for Seth Smith, and Seattle leads 4-0.
All these pitches, that was a changeup. Wasn't sure why Infante maybe didn't get any grass stains on him there. Looked like that ball stayed up and up. Might have caught that had he made a diving effort. See, these pitches that Guthrie's throwing are all right there in the middle. They're hittable.
One and one on Dustin Ackley. So now Mike Montgomery has a 4-0 lead. And the last 12 Royals to dig in against him have failed to reach. 1-2 on Ackley. He's had a ground rule double. And then a fly ball to left field in a play we're so used to seeing Alex Gordon make, because he makes it look routine. Alex charging in from left and making a sliding play, but Alex had the ball go off of his glove. That would have been the second out of the inning. No run scored on it, but it loaded the bases for Seattle and set up their 3-run inning. Off the top of the wall and gone. The Seattle Mariners have back-to-back 3-run innings and a 6-0 lead in the 5th.
Could see it coming. Guthrie in this inning, everything is out over the middle of the plate. That's exactly what they're looking for. So he's lost his command. Every single one of these. Look where that one was. Right there in the middle. All the hits in this inning have all been cookies. You could tell by on the sound of that contact that it was hit hard.
That's hit hard. Hosmer backhands to Guthrie to end the inning. And now Mike Montgomery takes the mound in the top of the 6th inning, having retired the last 12 Royals and a 6-0 lead. Slam inning. Our contestant is, you got to love this name, Tom Living Good from Centerville, Iowa. If the Royals are living good in this inning, Tom's going to win $2,300. If they're living great, Tom will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. So a home run $2,300, a grand slam $25,000. Mike Moustakas singled in the 1st inning and flied to center in the 3rd.
Mike Montgomery with a 6-run lead, pound the strike zone.
Hit hard and pulled foul. 0-2 on Moustakas. Well, we brought it up in the 1st inning, and the Royals were poised in the 1st and 2nd innings to do something against Mike Montgomery, and that's when he's most vulnerable. Now they're starting their 3rd time through the order, and this is when he is at his best. And that's a 3-pitch strikeout and number 7 for Mike Montgomery. That is a new career high by 3. He had never struck out more than 4.
You know, he's got a little extra incentive. Team that drafted him, 6-run lead now. He's dealing. He's going right after it. And one of the problems that the Royals offense have had about the last few lefties is they're trying to pull all the lefties. Dale Swain was telling me before the game about the last lefty they faced, Wade Miley, at home at the K. He was a guy you had to go the opposite field on because he threw a lot of sliders backdoor away from righties, make you to go to the opposite field. But guys were trying to pull him. They kept trying to pull him, and it wasn't working. And they're doing the same thing against Montgomery here.
And similar to the game against Miley, tonight they had an opportunity to break through against Montgomery, and they were so close so many times on Sunday to breaking through against Miley. And now Kane strikes out, and now Montgomery's really on a roll. 8 strikeouts, 14 in a row. The Royals have not had a base runner since the 2nd inning. Montgomery has struck out Hosmer twice. 15 straight knocked down by Mike Montgomery. Wow. Your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals all season wherever you are with the MLB.TV Game of the Day. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Luke Hochevar is a Chevy call to the bullpen. He'll get the Mariners in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jeremy Guthrie started with 3 scoreless innings. But Seattle got him for 3 in the 4th and 3 more in the 5th. Mike Zunino hitting .159. That is the lowest average of any major leaguer with over 150 plate appearances. But he had an RBI single last time up. Prior to that, he had struck out in his first 4 at-bats in this series. And you always wonder, with a young guy who's really struggling, what's the hit that gets him going? He just kind of is able to exhale and relax. Two balls, 1 strike.
Well, if Edgar knew those answers, he would give them all to his hitters. I guess you would call this his first breakout game as a hitting coach. 9 hits so far in this one. Doing a lot of observing and watching.
Which is probably the right thing to do when you first come to town, right? Well, he lives here, but I mean, when you first join the big league team, just kind of sit back and watch. Now Zunino on with a leadoff walk.
Logan Morrison stepping in. I talked about the great play that I saw last year. Sam Abramson, our guy in the truck, could get those things done. Look at that play there. That was special. That was a play that not too many first basemen can do, but now he's made 2 nice ones here in tonight's game. And thank you, Sammy, for going and getting that.
Born in Kansas City, Missouri. Also spent some time in North Carolina and Louisiana. His late father, Tom, played football at KU and also was in the Coast Guard, so they moved around. And then Logan came back to Kansas City for his college years. Didn't last very long, but he went to Maple Woods, where Albert Pujols went, and that's where he was drafted by the Florida Marlins. Wild pitch sends Zunino to second base. Remember all the discussion we had during the homestand about Omar Infante and changing his bats?
Yes.
Same thing happened to Logan Morrison. He got off to a slow start this year and was making some mechanical changes at the plate, in particular with his stride leg, his front leg. And he asked if he could borrow Nelson Cruz's bat, who was the hottest thing going the first 2 months of the season. And in his first game, he got 4 hits and had a 7-game hitting streak. So he is still swinging Nelson Cruz's bat, which was a heavier bat than the one he was using.
Sometimes it doesn't really matter the feel. If you want to try it one time, you go up there and you have success with it, you're going to stay with it until it's got no more hits in it. It's all a comfort thing. And obviously Hochevar's not being very comfortable. Hardly any command at all. He's all over the place in 8 pitches.
Don't you have to use your hands more when you go to a heavier bat?
Heavier bats, more handsy, and really it sometimes keeps you away from swinging at bad pitches in the dirt because it's so heavy to get down there. You just want to take your hands right to the good pitches, and those other ones you just try to spit on.
Back-to-back walks. And now a visit from Dave Island. So Luke still searching for his groove in his first season back from Tommy John surgery. It's the first time he's had trouble with control. He had only walked 2 in his first 11 innings, but had given up 17 hits in those 11 innings.
It's been 4 days since his last outing. Just wants to concentrate on keeping that shoulder driving right straight downhill over the top, right to Salvi. Shoulder seems like it's flying open some. He's not able to find his mechanics there.
One and one on Austin Jackson, who has grounded out twice and struck out. This is game number 73 for the Seattle Mariners. They have scored 6 runs or more 10 times. And the Royals, who are in the middle of the league in runs scored, they've done it 28 times. And I think it's safe to say, we discussed this at the top of the broadcast, that the Royals have had some good offensive games. They've been on a roll, but really haven't hit their stride for a long period of time, and yet they've done it 28 times. The Mariners just 10 times. (64% of the time this year), so much greater than half of the time. 64% of the time the Mariners have scored 3 runs or fewer.
It's not going to get you the wins you need.
Nope. And frustrating for Lloyd McClendon, because you're not just talking about a manager down there, you're talking about a hitting coach turned manager. Hochevar gets a strikeout of Jackson for the first out of the 6th inning.
That's a nice slider there. Had him set up for it. Seemed like that talk from Dave Island worked him out a little bit. Made him start executing, getting ahead of guys, and then finishing them off with the slider. He'll throw some cutters, curves, 2 and 4 seam fastballs.
That'll land in the crowd. Cano homered in the game last night, and he is singled and doubled in tonight's game. 6 hits, 3 home runs. 2 of those home runs are grand slams for Cano against Hochevar.
Really?
And he makes a good pitch on him here. Tied him up just enough. Infante wants it. 2 outs. The fantastic All-Star finalists have been announced, and we want to help Matt Gary win a trip to the All-Star game in Cincinnati to represent the Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City. Go to foxsports.com/fantastic all-star to vote now through June 24th. It's been a quiet night so far for Royals fans. I don't know about you, but that's all I heard from Mariners broadcast team, members of the Mariners front office coming to the ballpark today. My gosh, how many fans do you have here? I think it was a bit shocking to them and Mariners fans how loud the Royals fans were last night, and when those "Let's Go Royals" chants broke out. You're not used to a visiting team coming in here and taking over the ballpark.
I met a Royals fan that lives here in Seattle. He was all decked out in Royals gear when I was buying my dinner down there in the concourse area, and he was all excited that they came to town and he could come out, wear his swag, his colors, bragged about all the players. And you know, this is a guy here up in the Pacific Northwest that follows the Royals, and you know, all those votes they're getting aren't all from Kansas City. And a lot of the fans, they just booked their flight and they want to come out here. Some fans I met today down at the pier, or what do you call that area? Pikes Market. They'd never been to Seattle, so they said, "Hey, the Royals are going. We made our plans last week," and they just came over and had a whole bunch of things to do, and was doing the tourist thing.
1-2 on Cruz. So what you have a lot of fans doing basically is going on vacation as they normally do, but now how does it line up with the Royals schedule?
Exactly.
Yeah, the Royals are in Seattle June 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I always wanted to go to Seattle. Still 1-2 on Cruz. Seattle scored 3 in the 4th and 3 more in the 5th. All against Guthrie. This is Hochevar's first inning. Trying to get around a couple of walks to begin this inning. And he does. So he bounces back. He gets 2 strikeouts and a pop out. And the Mariners strand 2. Xfinity U-verse high-speed internet. The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Mike Montgomery making his 5th major league start. Has pitched 6 scoreless innings. And with Austin Jackson making the play in center field, the last 16 Royals have been knocked down by Mike Montgomery going back to the 2nd inning. Where's Joel?
Where's Alex Gordon? How about that, as he comes up to face a lefty, and he has been very good in that category. Should have had a hit earlier that you guys talked about with the error that they ruled. Our Toyota League leaders take a look at leaders against lefties, and you see Alex Gordon, the lefty, up on that list with some really good names. Talking to Alex about that today, I said, what's different? And he said, really now he's got a similar approach to lefties and righties. He has noticed lately that lefties have been trying to pitch him in, hard in, soft away. But he said that's kind of the cat and mouse game. There'll be adjustments. They'll change as they see him adjusting to that. That's part of the game. But he said really at this point, it's sticking to his approach, not overthinking things maybe like he did in the past. And then in the self-deprecating way that Alex can be, kind of looked at me and he said, sometimes the best hitters are the dumb guys, the guys that aren't very smart. And I think the greater point there would be don't overthink it too much. And that one did not go his way. I should say I mentioned that one to Hud before, Ryan. And Hud said, yep.
That was smart. That's why I couldn't hit.
But to the point, Hud, don't overthink things a lot. And then go out there and execute and go with your approach. Something we hear from Chris Young about when he's pitching, control what you can control.
That's all you can do, and then react. Work on stuff during BP, but the big thing I've seen about Alex is he's just really been able to keep his shoulder tucked nice. He's not flying open and giving himself away, and he's getting some base hits to the opposite field. He's able to really keep the shoulder tucked on breaking balls, and that's what a lefty tries to do to another left-handed batter. Get him to off balance to pull off it.
Royals have 3 hits and none since that single by Sal in the 2nd inning. Out to Miller, and the ball is off of his glove, and Salvador reaches to break the string. So remember last night Joe Blanton got on a roll from the 1st inning up until the 7th inning. He retired 16 in a row, and now Mike Montgomery's streak ends at 17 straight as Salvador is on with a Brad Miller error. And Montgomery has thrown 80 pitches in 6 2/3 innings.
He's doing a nice job getting ahead. It's exactly what you want from your pitcher when you've got a lead like that. Mess around, walk guys, make them earn their way. And he's got a good slider that's really fooling the hitters. The Royals tonight. They're swinging over the top of him. And he's not throwing them for strikes.
Yeah, he's really getting them to swing very early in the count. In fact, before that error, Montgomery had reported 8 outs on 23 pitches.
This one that stayed up.
You're talking about fewer than 3 pitches per at bat.
Right. Part of that is when you're thinking about going to the opposite field, you're looking middle away, and he's getting these guys out, down, and in because they're trying to pull.
Seager, Gold Glover, out at second base. Royals have had one runner since the second inning.
We take a look at some other scores. Panera takes us around the league, and Detroit wins at 7-3. Danny Salazar was cruising and then ends up giving up 6 runs in that one, earned runs. Chicago beats Minnesota. Oakland 2 better than Texas, and Houston right now behind Carlos Correa, just a triple shy of the cycle. They are all over Los Angeles. Have a pitching change here. One other note, pitching-wise for you guys, Justin Verlander scratched from his start tomorrow against Cleveland with back stiffness. He will be replaced by Buck Farmer.
Yikes. And this is the first year of that contract extension for him, isn't it? Verlander, brand new contract.
Yeah, they got some years left and a lot of million.
Michael Marriott called up from AAA Omaha. Aaron Brooks was sent down after the game on Sunday. Kyle Seager leads off for the Mariners. This is Michael Marriott's first major league appearance of this year. Got to the big leagues for the first time last year and appeared in 17 games for the Royals over 2 different call-ups. He had 5 saves for AAA Omaha.
He's got a nice fastball. 90-95, good changeup. Fastball changeup combination is what he uses. He'll use a breaking ball.
Three balls, 1 strike. Full count.
He's got some good moving action that goes away from the lefty and into the righty. He's got a nice fastball. Last year I remember Marriott had some times when he was very consistent when he went out there, and then he had other times where he'd give up a lot of runs. He's got the stuff. He just got to be able to harness it, command it.
field. Rios is right there. Tough hitting luck for Seager. Second time he is lined out. One down in the bottom of the 7th. Fox Sports Midwest and the Royals invite University of Missouri fans to come out to Kauffman Stadium July 24th when the Royals host the Astros. Buy a ticket through Royals.com/Mizzou and then get to the game early for a Mizzou themed Royals cap. Mizzou Day at the K, July 24th. Now Seth Smith. He has scored 2 of the Mariners' runs and driven in 1.
He's got a nice, smooth, compact stroke. Just seeing that ball elevated.
Oh, and 2. It was almost exactly a year ago that Michael Marriott got his first big league win. Got it against the Angels on June 27th of last season. He and Alex Gordon might have some things to talk about when it comes to what's going on in Lincoln. As Michael Marriott, like Alex Gordon, came out of the University of Nebraska. He is from Texas, and like Alex, while playing for the Cornhuskers, played with future major leaguers. Alex, of course, Java Chamberlain, Brian Dunsing, Tony Watson. Michael Marriott played with Cody Ashe, Dan Jennings, Thad Weber. Three and 2. Ooh. Seth Smith is on with 1 out.
Like a pretty good spot there. Gibson must have missed that one.
And now Dustin Ackley, he is a triple shy of hitting for the cycle. He got the home run in the 5th inning. That turned a 4-0 game into a 6-0 game. It's our Dodge drive of the game.
Boy, you're living right when you hit the top of that wall and it continues to carry out. Made some adjustments from his swings last night, we saw. Shortened up his stride.
James Jones. And no, his middle name is not Earl. And I don't even know if he has a deep voice. He'll run for Seth Smith. You were asking me about him before the game tonight. You liked watching him play last year.
I liked him. You know, he's an action player. Runs hard. Good bunter. He's out working on his bunting today. About the time I was asking you go, yeah, he's on their roster and didn't get to play last night, but good center fielder. Seems to have a hunger, to play, and energy, and plays with a sense of urgency. I like guys like that.
Well, he's got a chance, and Lorenzo Cain spoils it for him. Well, if he was going to hit a triple, that's the place to hit it in this ballpark. And Ackley, who has some speed, if that ball gets by Lorenzo Cain, he'd have a shot. And I think Jones would have scored with his speed, but not against this outfield defense.
And on contact, you could tell it had a chance, but Lorenzo Cain just found a way to track it. Talked about he covers every blade of grass.
You'll remember this, the last opponent to hit for the cycle against the Royals happened in Anaheim. I'm guessing you didn't see a lot of Angels hit for the cycle. You were working for the Angels in 04, weren't you?
I was.
Okay. It's an easy one to forget. Switch hitter. Father played in the big leagues, also for the Angels, I believe.
Jeff Devannon.
Jeff Devannon. August 25th of 2004. Jeff Devannon was the last opponent to hit for the cycle.
Thanks for those hints.
And now Alex Gordon with a long run. He is there, and that's the inning. So Michael Marriott benefits from good outfield defense to turn in a scoreless bottom of the 7th inning. For 6 innings, and here are some of the sprint cuts of the game against Mike Montgomery tonight.
Well, that's about all they are, cuts, because for some reason the Royals are just a little over anxious hitting pitches or trying to attempt to hit them that are not their pitches. So you get the credit to Montgomery. He's done a good job against the team that drafted him. A little motivation, but tell you what, but you get out of a bases loaded jam in the first inning, no out, you're going to get some mojo behind that and a little bit of confidence, and that's what he's built off of.
James Jones stays in the game in right field. Well, I'm sure this tastes a little sweeter for him to do it against the Royals, and yet if this is the way he pitched, he would have been up with the Royals a few years ago. That's the first hard hit ball in a long time, and Infante lines out to Cano, who was guarding the middle. Final game of this series means Danny Duffy comes back from the disabled list against Roenis Elias. Royals knocked him around the last time we saw him here. He gave up a grand slam to Alcides Escobar. And here is Alcides Escobar. And there's Danny Duffy, ready to go, happy to be back with the Royals. Got a physical break and a mental break while spending time on the disabled list. He's just a lot of fun to be around, isn't he, Danny Duffy?
Always happy. I love that.
2 down. That's a new career high for Mike Montgomery. 7 2/3 innings. Coming up after the game, Boulevard Royals Live with Joel. Highlights, reaction from the Royals clubhouse. We'll hear from Royals manager Ned Yost. And we'll see what happens with the Royals' final 4 outs. But I imagine there'll be a lot of discussion about the first 2 innings against Mike Montgomery.
Because that's all there was.
And now Jackson makes the play in right center. 8 scoreless innings for Mike Montgomery. He has retired 21 of the last 22. Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg. Safeco Field in Seattle. Mike Zunino. This is a tough time of night, and Alex Gordon and both Alcides Escobar saw the ball as it tried to blend in with the gray sky, and Alex makes a play for the first out. Remember to vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and you'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Logan Morrison takes outside. 0 for 3 with a walk tonight, and he has driven in one of the 6 runs. One and one. One and two on Logan Morrison, and we showed you a great play that he made at Kauffman Stadium last year. A couple of years ago with Miami, he homered at Kauffman Stadium against James Shields, and that was a dream come true for him, spending some of his childhood in Kansas City. And he said the only thing he wished he could have done, and it would have worked with this swing, was hit it into the fountains. That was fountain distance, and Logan Morrison gives Seattle a 7-0 lead in the 8th inning.
There's your 240-pound leadoff hitter with some pop. Little breaking ball, 82, just hung right up over the middle of the plate. Easy swing for him. Short, compact, got underneath it. Ninth homer on the year.
One and one to Austin Jackson. He is 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. One and two.
Marriott's got some good stuff. He's got movement on his pitches. Good two-seamer there. Just that one mistake. Little slider that just kind of hung, just spun. Might have backed up. Look at that spot. Good pitch.
Third time that Jackson has struck out. That's Marriott's first strikeout tonight. Here's a Mazda game break. And we go to Cleveland. Joel told us that Danny Salazar got off to a good start, but then got knocked around. This is Yoenis Cespedes driving in 2 in the top of the 5th inning. And the Tigers went on to beat Cleveland 7-3. I mentioned earlier that Minnesota has lost. The White Sox beat them 6-2. So if this game doesn't change, the Royals would maintain a 3.5 game lead over Minnesota, but Detroit would pick up a game. They would be 4.5 back and just 1 game out of second place. Robinson Cano has a 2-hit game. Seattle Mariners have a 10-hit game. They haven't had many games like this. Not just scoring runs like they have for Mike Montgomery, but just having a blowout game where everyone just can kind of relax and breathe. They play the most games decided by 2 runs or less in the major leagues. So they are playing tight games night after night and losing a lot of them because of a lack of offense. So this is a breath of fresh northwest air.
Sure is, especially for Edgar Martinez, new hitting coach.
Cano is out, and Marriott gives up 1 run on the home run to Morrison. Mike Montgomery is 3 outs away from his first major league shutout. team that drafted him, the team who dreamed of him pitching like he has tonight. He never did get to the big leagues with the Royals. He was traded to the Tampa Bay Rays in the deal that brought James Shields and Wade Davis to KC. He never got to the big leagues with them. And now with his third team and his 5th major league start, he is 3 outs away from a shutout. He has retired 21 of the last 22 Royals. Since the 2nd inning, the Royals have had 1 base runner, and that was a runner reaching on an error.
And to do it against the American League's best offense, at least from an average standpoint, is pretty impressive. Love his downhill angle with his 6'4" frame. He had great execution on his changeup, that pitch there, and his slider. He got a lot of Royals hitters to swing over the top of it. The Royals want to get him out of there, not score a run off him. And there's been very few of those breaking balls that he's thrown that have actually hung up and they were hittable. There was one there, Lorenzo couldn't square it up.
And since the 2nd inning, it's looked easy for Montgomery. But in the first 2 innings, the Royals gave him a bad time. This game started with the Royals having the bases loaded and nobody out. Montgomery adds to his career high 10 strikeouts. That's 6 more than his previous career high.
His changeup has been really good. That's exactly where you want to put it against a righty. Down and off of the plate. 10 punch outs. Wow. Didn't see it coming.
Ackley brings it down in left field, and now 1 out away from a shutout. $17,460 here tonight. And we'll try and finish it with Kendrys Morales. And Morales made the 2 biggest outs of the night. Told you about bases loaded, nobody out. Then it was bases loaded, 1 out, and Morales grounded into a double play to right field, and Jones will have to play it on a hop. And that's the Royals' first hit since the 2nd inning. Bases loaded, nobody out in the first, 2 on, nobody out in the 2nd. So they had chances in the first 2 innings. But since the Royals had 2 on and nobody out in the 2nd inning, Montgomery has retired 23 of 25.
It's been excellent. Aggressive with his fastball. Getting ahead and then finishing him off with his changing curves all night.
By the way, if you were with us early in the game, we were convinced that Alex's ground ball to Logan Morrison would be eventually changed from an error to a hit. They never did change it. And now we'll see what Montgomery does with the glove. He gets it to Morrison, who immediately gives the ball back to Mike Montgomery. That'll go on his mantle, and who knows where his career will go from here. But he always has June 23rd of 2015 when he pitched his first major league shutout. And against, of all teams, the team that drafted him in part of the first round back in 2010, a 4-hit shutout. And Mike Montgomery is the 15th Mariners rookie to pitch a shutout in their team's history.
Well, congratulations to him and his family. This is a very, very special moment. And it's so hard to get here. And then to perform and then to beat the team that drafted you in the first round. And also the Royals with the best offense. Boy, there's a lot to be excited if you're him. And Lloyd McClendon's got to be pumped about this. There's a hug to the skipper.
A 10 strikeout, no walk performance.
Wow.
There's his pitching coach, Rick Waits. Edgar Martinez, Mariners legend.
How about they got 10 hits? Something they're not used to seeing.